Hello and welcome if you're new here. My name is Hannah. I'm an interior designer from Sydney, Australia, and on my channel I love to talk about all things interior design. If that's something that you might be interested in, feel free to subscribe and follow along as I upload new content every week. With that being said, let's get into today's video. Hey, and welcome to my very first home review. So firstly, apologies for the appearance. I've just gotten out of the shower and I thought this would be a fun time to film a home review. So today we're going to be looking at the home of Emma Chamberlain. If you don't know who she is a YouTuber, originally, I guess, influencer, and now kind of a fashion icon, I guess you could say. I've been following her for a few years, just sort of loosely, and I really like her content. I think she's very relatable, so this is going to be fun. I've seen a few photos of her house and it kind of intrigued me because I know that some of her previous homes, or the one that she was last in, was like kind of a very cookie cutter home. It was very bland and kind of boring and just beige and didn't really feel like she had injected much of her personality into the space. So this one's gonna be really exciting because it looks like there's a lot of color, a lot of playfulness, and really from the photos that I've seen, really reminds me kind of her style, and I guess also reflects her age in some ways. So I haven't watched the AD review yet, so this is going to be my first reaction, and yeah, I'm excited. So let's get into the video.
Hi AD, I'm Emma Chamberlain, and welcome to my house. I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. Please come in. I worked on this house with Marie and Ashley from Proem, and we had the most fun ever. I feel like my style with clothing and home is very much taking a mixture of everything that I love from any era, any whatever.
Okay, so from what I've seen so far, just from those little clips, I think that, as I said, very different to the home that she's living in before this. This has so much color. I can see a lot of like great vintage furniture pieces, just complete opposite to where she was living previously.
This is a painting by my dad, which is a reoccurring theme throughout the house. My dad's a rock star.
Okay, just side note, love that this house was built in the 50s, and I love that she didn't knock it down and just start again. I think when you have a house that has great bones, it is so fun. And sometimes I think working within limitations and working within sort of an envelope of a space really allows you to push yourself instead of just having free reign. And I think sometimes you get even better results.
If I'm being completely honest, when we were like designing this room, I was like, it's gonna be really gorgeous, but I'm never gonna use it. And that's actually not true at all. I actually hang out in here with my friends and we read books, which is crazy because who reads books? This is sort of a wall of inspiration. And I feel like when you just look at this wall, you're like, I want to pick up a book and I want to think and look at art. It's inspiring. What I really like about this room is that, you know, this half is very relaxing. You know, the colors are very
I'm obsessed with that ceiling, with those beautiful skylights that she has in there. I mean, they're obviously original. I would assume that they're original. And they are amazing. And for her to say that she didn't think she would use this space, but now uses it all the time, is just definitely a testament to the interior designers. It really takes a good eye to understand what is going to enhance a space and what's going to make it usable or, you know, user friendly. And I think they've done a really good job in making it sort of, there's all these displays of things that she loves and things that are interesting to look at, and the sofas aren't too pretentious, but they're still kind of, you know, and they're still kind of loungy. I think they got that balance right. And yeah, I mean, I would love to lie on that couch and just stare up through those skylights all day, because that is really just, that's the icing on the cake here.
This is a piece that's actually not my dad's. My dad painted this insane piece actually specifically for my house. He also painted these. These have been a part of my art collection for a while now. But these three are new. So this is the formal dining room. To be honest, This table came in a few days ago. I have not used it. I think I love it because it looks so soft, but yet, you know, it's hard. That's something I love. I love when something's made out of a hard material, but it still finds a way to look soft. I feel like that's so magical. I just don't eat dinner like at a table. So I don't think this is going to end up being used for that.
I do like the dining table. I think that it's a really beautiful material and it goes really well with the chairs as well. Would I have it in my own home? I don't think so. I think, while it's very sculptural and I love sculptural things, I think that, I don't know. I like it, but I don't think I would have it in my home. I think it works well in that space. Maybe it's just that it's really bare. I don't know what it is. I used upholstered chairs. I think that that's always a great option for dining chairs because it's way more comfortable sitting on an upholstered chair as opposed to a hard wooden chair, if that's useful to you.
So this is a truing chandelier. I've never really had a super strong opinion on chandeliers ever. It's just one of those things that I don't feel passionate about necessarily until I saw this one. And I was like, no, that's what I like. Because it's not a classic chandelier. It's very cool.
Cool. She sounds cool saying it, I just sound like a dickhead. Okay. I think with the chandelier, it kind of works because I think the blue tone's really good because they contrast against the timber and they break up the starkness of the space. I don't think it's totally bare in that room, but I think because you've got just this big slab of stone for the dining table and then this big void with just white walls, I think that the chandelier is kind of playful and again comes back to her sort of age and her aesthetic, and I think that's fun. I don't love it, but I think it's cool in the space, and I think it was a pretty good choice by the designers. So yeah, I think it works.
So honestly, this is where I eat most of the time.
I hate those stools. I hate them. Why? Like, why would you put those stools there? I feel like she could have done something so much more fun, like even some really cool vintage bamboo or cane bar stools or something. It is about those, it's the seat pad. It reminds me of like some weird like 90s bar stool. The timber's really nice and it ties in with it. But can I speak? The timber is really nice and it ties in with the rest of the house, but I don't know, there's something about the shape of that bar stool that I just really don't like. So I think that for me is a no. Sorry, Emma.
When it came to doing my own kitchen, I knew I wanted to do something green, but I wasn't sure what. That was kind of in my head going into this kitchen. We actually ripped out the whole kitchen and redid it. And then we kind of had this blank canvas. And so I think it really started with this marble. It has all my favorite colors in it. It has the green, the rusty color, the white.
Okay, so from what I see, I do really like the kitchen. I think the marble is really beautiful. I think anything with that sort of subtle pistachio, matcha tea, green tone is really, really beautiful. And green's one of my favorite colors. So, you know, brownie points there. I think that like the tiles on the backsplash are a little bit understated. I think she could have gone for something a little bit more handmade or a little bit more interesting in some way. Like still keeping it neutral. It doesn't necessarily have to be a color, but I think that they just kind of fade into the background, and which maybe was the intent. But overall, I think the kitchen's really nice. I love, again, the skylights and how it floods the kitchen in light. Again, that window at the back there just really frames an incredible view. When you walk into the kitchen, you've got that beautiful view of the nature outside, and I think that's really amazing.
I always wanted one of these things, so I'm really excited about this.
I also would love to have a pot filler. I love them when they're like mounted on the wall. There's just something so like Meryl Streep in It's Complicated about it. I don't know if you haven't seen The Home in that movie. I suggest you watch it. It's one of my faves.
This is kind of like the party bathroom. It's super accessible in the main living area. This is the one that most people use.
I don't know how I feel about this bathroom from what I've seen. I I like that they were adventurous and did that kind of like textured wallpaper on the walls, but I don't know if I like it with the stone sink. I feel like there's something about that sink. I think it's the fact that they've put like just a stark white, like standard sink inside it that kind of makes it look a little bit like DIY. I think if they had like literally carved the sink out of the stone, that would have made it more interesting and probably a little bit more authentic, expensive looking. Maybe, you know, this is just a powder room, and I think powder rooms are an opportunity to have fun, which they've obviously done. And I love that they've kept that original door. So it's not all bad, but I think just the sink, I think they could have done better.
So we're in my dressing room. I live alone, so I had some extra bedrooms to play with. And one thing that was kind of a dream of mine was to have sort of a dressing room where I can get my hair and makeup done. I can, you know, accessorize my outfits. I'm kind of mortified to admit that I have this.
Why would you be mortified by that? If I had that, I would fucking love it. I think like she's got the house, she's got the space, she's got the clothes. Why wouldn't you have that? I think that is so good. Honestly, if you've got the space, do it, because that is just like something that you can get so creative with. And I love even using clothes and jewelry and things as a way of styling a space. So like having certain things on display so that it makes the space interesting.
But if I do need to wear them, I have this. I love this thing. The thing I really wanted to do in this house too was take something boring like a stepladder and like try to find one that I actually liked that could actually add to the space. So I think this thing's so cute, I leave it out.
I really like that stool. Looks like cartel or something. And if you're gonna have a stool, if you're short or you need to reach high places, you may as well have one that's nice and that you can put out on display and don't have to hide. And that was probably unreasonably expensive, but if you've got the cash, spend it on a nice stepladder. The lighting is so bad. Sorry, it's 8 o'clock at night because I had to film this after work, so I should have done that from the start. But back to the video.
So this is the chill hangout room. So the other living room is like, we're gonna really take care of our minds in here. And then in here, it's like, no more rules. The cool thing in this room is the drum set. And listen, before I even show you the drum set, we really need to get this out of the way. When I say I'm not very good at drums, I'm actually awful. I enjoy doing it anyway.
Just going back to that room, that felt like a bit of an afterthought, that room. I feel like it was not, compared to what I've seen so far in the rest of the house, I thought that room was really, I don't know if it was because of the TV or it just looked really bare and kind of mismatched. I mean, the TV was huge, but I guess you got to put a TV somewhere. I mean, conceal it if you can in some way. But again, yeah, I think they could have done something more with that space. Maybe it was just lacking color. I think the rest of the house is so colorful that to see something that bare, it kind of wasn't what I was expecting. But anyway, moving on to the bedroom, to the boudoir.
We are in my bedroom, and I really wanted this room to just feel soothing. My favorite part of this room is these big windows that aren't too bright, but they still allow nature inside. This is my favorite bedroom I've ever had. There's a little fireplace. This fireplace didn't come with the house. We kind of built it out to look kind of more architectural.
I think that considering the fireplace wasn't original, I think they did a good job. And I think that's something that the way they kind of molded it into the corner of the room and used, you know, just continued the wall color over it. I think that works.
Highlight. It's this blanket. It has this little tiger on it. Now, at first glance, you're like, okay, it's a tiger. But then you look a little bit closer and you're like, he's a weird tiger. What it reminded me of was when Napoleon Dynamite drew a liger. And that's my favorite movie of all time.
The bedroom's really nice. I love the bed. I think it's really like, it just reminds me of a big donut. and looks so comfortable. Just that I can imagine just touching the bed head and how soft it would be, that velvet. Of the big tree in the corner, I'm so glad that she didn't do like a million little plants. Definitely prefer one big plant like that in the corner. I think it's just also really nice because it also gives it some height, plays with scale in that space. And the bed looks really low and the bedside tables are low, and I think it also sort of matches the height of the windows.
I sort of had this obsession with this color of marble, like this sort of rusty marble. And I was kind of like dreaming about it, but it also kind of felt risky because it's definitely out of my comfort zone in a way. But I really wanted to make it work in this bathroom because I really thought it would be beautiful in a bathroom. So I did it here and I love it. It kind of feels like this warm and fuzzy, relaxing mixture of everything. You know, like you have tile, you have marble, metals. It's kind of just a mix of everything. That's what I like. This tub actually came with the house.
I love the tub. I think it's really cool. It is retro and kind of mid-century, but also reminds me sort of like a Japanese style bath in some way. I think it's the timber. I will say that I don't love that like copper rusty colored marble. I don't know if it's because it's like glossy or like glossy stone, glossy marbles. I would always go for like a honed or a flamed finish, which is like, it's a lot more matte or rough textured. I think the bath is already shiny, and I think to have the sort of rusty colored stone next to it, I don't know, I think the colors work well together in terms of like the neutral tiles and then the rust colored marble, that yellow sort of honeycomb stone and the timber. I think the colors work well, but for me, I think there's a little bit too much going on somehow. I don't personally love huge slabs of stone, like especially in her shower, how she's got that whole wall of stone. I think it's nice to have details, you know, even a half height wall that comes up and you create a shelf out of it and then tile above. I think that can be really nice, but yeah, full like walls of stone is not really something that I'm into.
Here's the bar area. I just turned 21. The cool thing about this is that this copper here wears with time and, you know, gets rings and gets spots all over it. It kind of like has the memory of parties past. Although when I did make the first stain on this, I freaked out because I didn't realize that it was supposed to get stained and weathered. And I was like, like we're gonna have to get it replaced. And then they're like, no, it's fine. Funny story about these. I ordered them again online. They're like from the 60s or something.
I really love this bar area. I think that the use of the copper throughout is really beautiful, and the fact that it's going to patina and age over time is a really nice feature. Things that age, things that show the natural course of their life is something really beautiful in interiors, and so often people try and maintain things and, you know, keep them looking new. But I think when it comes to metals and things like that, this is a really good way to go, especially in like a small area like a bar. These areas of the home are sort of sometimes overlooked, and I think that, again, it's an opportunity to be really playful. The sort of smaller spaces in your home, like the powder room, the bar area, sort of like nooks. And I think that the designers have done a really good job and still kept it playful and not too mature given her age. I will say, I think that's one thing that they've done really well, is that they've kept her age and her stage of life in mind. I think sometimes you see a lot of young celebrities who have these houses that are like really super mature and they're like 21. And it's like, you want to have a space that reflects who you are and your age and your stage in life, because you've got your whole life to create a space that is mature.
That's cute. It's actually kind of relaxing to like get all the leaves. I feel like the vibe out here was very just summery and fun. Outdoor furniture, I think, can kind of lean boring sometimes. And so I just wanted to find the most exciting stuff I could find. And like this pattern is just gorgeous and I love it. I actually have people over almost every weekend in this backyard. It's the best way to party, in my opinion. During the day, you're in bed by 10 still.
I'm disappointed in the backyard. It reminds me of the house that she lived in before this one. It was very like cookie cutter. I think there's so much opportunity to create an amazing backyard. Like they could have done something kind of a bit more retro with the pool. I don't know if that was existing or not. But again, it kind of feels like a bit like college, like with the beer pong, and I don't really love the furniture. I think that it's, yeah, really stark in comparison to the rest of the house. And they could have done like a really cool paver outside, a bit more landscaping, as opposed to having everything sort of just around the edge. I think that, yeah, it's just a little bit underwhelming, and I don't know, maybe she'll grow out of it and change. I'm sure there'll be a lot of things in the home that will change over time.
So we're in the bathroom off the pool, and this bathroom was fully inspired by the feeling inside of a sailboat. Funny story though, actually, this room, when I first bought the house, was so scary that it almost made me not want to buy the house. Like this was the room that I walked into in its initial form, and I was like, oh, this place is haunted. Got it. There was a sauna in there, which if you see,
I really like most of this sort of outdoor bathroom. I think that, you know, in this instance with the pavers, like that crazy paving, they could have brought that outside around the pool, and even that would have made such a big difference as opposed to having just like the large format tiles. I love again that it's got the timber that's connected to the house. I think, yes, I can see why she feels like it's quite nautical, and I really like that, especially because it's sort of like an outhouse vibe. I will say the one thing that I don't like, I like the color of the tiles in the shower, but I really don't really like the format and how they're so uniform. I think that they could have done something, again, a little bit more handmade, a little bit more like rustic, but not necessarily rustic, maybe just something not so perfect. Maybe something a bit like this could have been nice.
this is sort of the sitting room. The pool bathroom's right there, so it's just kind of like the overflow of that. And the theme of this room is very ocean, sailboat feel. Can we just talk about these? Marie and Ashley sent me a photo of these, and at first I was like, something's a little off. And then I noticed that his head is like coming out, and I was like, no, I need it. And it feels like summer on the East Coast to me. The ceiling is cork, which is cool because this is
I really like this room. I think it's really playful but done really well. It's not like obnoxious. I think that the art is so cool. It reminds me of like these books that I used to read when I was a kid that had similar illustrations, and I think, as she said, the fact that the room's coming off the pool, it works really well. I love the floor lamp that's next to the sofa, like the blue corduroy sofa. I think that, yeah, it works really well, and I like the mix and the juxtaposition of like blue corduroy, that vintage sofa, which is a really beautiful sofa, and then like, you know, you've got the little glass side table which looks like glass Italia. And then normally I'm not a fan of like the Burlwood tables, but I think, yeah, it works in this space, and it's kind of a weird shape and kind of is a nod to the playfulness in the room. You know, like she said, she's got that little elephant ride along thing from a town where she grew up, and I think, you know, again, it's about those sentimental elements that make a space so fun. And this room is definitely not pretentious. I think it's just, yeah, I think it's done really well, and I like the contrast of all the blue tones with the sort of rusty, warmer tones in the timber. I think the designers and Emma did a really good job. Okay, so that was my Emma Chamberlain home review. Overall, I'm really impressed. I think she did such a good job, her and the designers, on this house. I remember when she first bought it, I looked it up because I was curious to see what it was going to look like. And from looking at the original photos to what the house is now, I think, yeah, done such a great job. Obviously, there are a few things there that maybe I would change, but overall, I think that everything in there is really a true reflection of herself and her style and how she's evolved from when she first started out on YouTube and bought her first property or 2 properties and moved into this home. I think she's done an amazing job. Yeah, it's just really a reflection of herself. I hope you guys enjoyed watching that home review. I would love to do more. If there's anyone that you would like me to review the home of, I would be happy to oblige. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be uploading new content every week, interior design based. And yeah, until the next video, have a great day.